Hey guys, welcome to Bob's Sunday School. I hope you guys had a wonderful week. A lot of big things happening this week, right? Wakanda Forever, a bunch of weird, unsubstantiated reports in regards to Indiana Jones. Let me just touch up on this real quickly. I talked about this on the Nuke the Fridge podcast this past Friday. But if you guys didn't see that, quick reminder that basically there's reports that the Indiana Jones 5 is in trouble, that the test screenings have been a complete disaster. The endings are not what people wanted. There's talk about a spin-off series that Phoebe, at the end of one of the test screenings, one of the endings that they're testing, is they show her kind of like taking over the mantra of Indiana Jones, and then the other one is of Indiana Jones possibly dying or dying. The other report that's coming on the trades is that Lucasfilm is pitching the idea to different writers about a Indiana Jones TV series. And this leaves a lot of questions up in the open because in the past you've had Harrison Ford very adamantly saying that when he's gone, Indiana Jones is gone. And let's be real, guys, too big of an IP for one actor to claim ownership over it. With that said, Frank Marshall has also come out and said that they had no intentions ever of recasting Indiana Jones. But let's not forget, they have in the past. Okay, so don't forget there was a young Indiana Jones TV series. There was also River Phoenix playing a young Indiana Jones, right, in the Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. So could we ever see a recasting of Indiana Jones? Let me explain to you why I believe, not does that only make sense, that was the entire intentions from the very beginning, okay? We're going to go back to 1977, 1978, the release of Star Wars. And if you see back here, right, I love Indiana Jones, and Indiana Jones is close to my heart as much as Star Wars is. And Star Wars and Indiana Jones, besides the fact that George Lucas is the creator, there's something else that ties the success of Star Wars to the birth of Indiana Jones. George Lucas and Steven Spielberg were at the beach, on a beach in Hawaii, kind of like recovering from the madness of Star Wars. And at one point, Steven Spielberg tells George, I want to make a James Bond movie, right? And at this point, George says, I got something better than Indiana Jones. And he pitches him a story of an archaeologist, of a professor. I think at that time it wasn't Indiana Jones. I think it was Indiana Smith. And it ended up evolving to Indiana Jones. But he pitched him an idea that this was like a James Bond, right? But just an archaeologist instead of a spy. And this is what makes me think that from the very beginning, right, honest to God, they should have recast Harrison Ford probably 20 years ago. By the time Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull movie came out, let's be honest, he was already too old for that movie. Harrison Ford turns 80 years old this year. He's already 80 years old, actually. And by the time Indiana Jones 5 comes out, he's going to be 81. The truth is he's too old, and he's definitely too old to continue on this franchise. There's talk about that the Indiana Jones 5, there is either some flashback sequences or some time travel element to it. Who knows? But let's go back to this, why I believe Indiana Jones should be recast. And it's very simple. It was from the very beginning, it was pitched as a James Bond movie. And throughout the years, we've had multiple James Bond, right? From Sir Sean Connery to George Lazenby to Roger Moore to Timothy Dalton to Pierce Brosnan to the most recent one, right? And at the end, he was probably the best one, okay? And at the Daniel Craig was amazing. But we've never had a problem recasting the character. Now, I believe that if you do recast Harrison Ford or Indiana Jones, we have so many more adventures to be told. We could go back to his earlier years, before, Raiders, or after Raiders, or in between, right? The whole concept of this is that there's no reason why we could not continue to recast Harrison Ford. I would say that 15 years ago, maybe even 10 years ago, hell, Nathan Fillion would have made a great Indiana Jones. But there is a lot of other actors that could portray. Look, River Phoenix. If you go back and watch that movie, River Phoenix did a great job playing a young Indy. So at the end, there's a lot of different possibilities of why and how it would work. But my total belief is that this franchise is going to, live past Harrison Ford. It's going to live past even Frank Marshall and Kathy Kennedy and everyone else that's currently in Lucasfilm. At the end of the day, it's show business, and Hollywood needs to make money, and it's understandably so. And as long as they pay respect to the original character, which obviously they will. Now, the one thing I don't want them to do is to spin off, and all of a sudden we have, a female Indiana Jones, right? We already have strong female characters, and there's no reason to recast it as that. I think that would be a horrible decision. Could they do a spin-off series of the world of Indiana Jones? I could see that, but the main character at the end of the day is going to have to be Indiana Jones. Right? At one point, Indiana Jones is going to have to be alive. And look, there's plenty of adventures that Indiana Jones has done. And we could go back to the early beginnings of the young Indiana Jones stories that, George Lucas did and Rick McCallum produced and stuff. And there was a lot of good stories there. We could easily expand on that. We could easily have multiple TV shows, movies, and everything else to continue on the world of Indiana Jones. But I believe, and this is my belief, and this is my opinion, that fans would be okay, as long as the casting is right, of course, right, to give us more Indiana Jones movie with a new actor. It's worked for James Bond. It would work for Indiana Jones. There's no reason why not to. All right, guys, so that's today's Bob Sunday School. So a quick reminder, yes, George Lucas pitched Indiana Jones as his own version of James Bond. And with that in mind, I totally support and I totally agree that there should be a recasting of Indiana Jones. All right, guys, till next time.